When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
Cass, what are we talking about today? Manifesting success stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, manifesting success stories. And I think when people think that, I mean, you should keep listening. We're not talking about like those big things, but like the little things that make life easier, better, richer, fuller, you know?
More fun.
Yes, like the things that happen to us now and we're like easy to roll with, we understand on a different level. So just some examples of those.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I have so many things that I'm excited about right now. I'm not sure where to start, but...
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But I'm going to share one that's silly and fun, exactly what we're talking about, is I just got this new carpet for beside my bed when I step off the bed in the morning. And I was used to stepping on like hard floor, and it it gave me a little like, oh, every time. And I'm like, that's not the way I want to be starting my morning. And now I'm like overly excited to step on my rug. It's so soft. It's so comfortable. Like literally I got up this morning and I was like, oh, I couldn't wait to stand up, which is a much, much more fun vibration to start your day in. So I'll just leave it at one for now. But what are you excited about, Cass?
Well, you can tell more, but you reminded me of a story that kind of plays into this today. Well, I don't know if it plays into exactly our topic today, but when I decided I was ready, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on. You know, I was living with my goddaughters and it was amazing, but I was just feeling like opening and like, okay, the next thing is coming. I'm ready. And I'm ready for that, right? And so I, at like TJ Maxx or something, I bought a bath mat size rug. It wasn't a bath mat, but I bought that size little rug that feels like my fuzzy love rug that's under my feet now, that I had in my office. Like I bought a little one of those and put it next to my bed so that I'd feel it every day so I could just be more in that space.
Yeah, it's such a good, I love having those little examples, like, because we can, sometimes when we're giving those ideas of like being that person and stepping into the life, it doesn't mean redecorating the whole room or remodeling this. It's like you can activate that feeling of wealth, of luxury, of abundance with a mat that you step into.
Or even just what you want, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a mat.
The other little thing that kind of popped into my head this morning too, and it's simple, is I got this really nice smelling, good feeling hand soap. And now when I love washing my hands, I'm like, I love smelling that. It's like, and it was like $5. And it was, it activates that vibration throughout the day and is adding to all of that. And so it's fun.
Yeah. And I will say, inviting abundance is often, it's really inexpensive. It's just about like choices.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So awesome.
Okay. So did you want to share that other story that you just said made you think of something else?
Oh, that was it. Like it just made me think of how I got the little rug, and it wasn't necessarily to activate abundance. For me, it was opening up like to having my own space again, and like I'm ready for that, and just that feeling of, because the rug was in storage, right? The big rug was in storage, and so it was just like this little piece of it that I got to feel every day as I was opening to that. Like, I'm ready to feel that rug again, right? Which means I have my own space. I have my own place again.
So it was acknowledging that desire and that intention, and then the action of experiencing that on a daily basis, I think, is powerful.
Absolutely.
Also, the intention behind that. It wasn't, I think this is powerful as well, is doing these things because it feels good with the intention to like, I enjoy this. This feels fun. This feels exciting, versus I'm going to get this rug to activate abundance in my life. I never once had that thought, but let me tell you, I feel rich when I stand on that rug. But it's like, we often find that, like, you go more after what feels good and more after these things that bring you little bits of joy in your life versus doing it with the intention of trying to activate this. Cass and I talk about this all the time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one manifesting story that kind of came up this past week.
Oh, wait, do you want to?
Oh, go ahead.
I want to be excited. I didn't share my excited stuff.
Yes, what are you excited about?
I'm excited because after we get done recording, I'm going to go get my niece. She's been here for a couple days, and so I get to go get her. Yeah, and then she's going to spend the night. And actually, I'm getting my nieces. I'm getting both of them. I'm getting the baby too. So
baby too.
Yeah. So I get to hang out with them tonight, and so I'm really excited about that. And then I'm excited for spring. It's so nice. So I'm excited to get my rooftop deck, like go buy the stuff that I've been like waiting to put out there, like a table, and find the bed that I want for it because I want an outdoor bed, and that's happening.
That's awesome. So when I was talking about creating that outdoor space, you were like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
I was like, I'm going to start sending Ginny pictures.
Yes. Cassie loves her balconies and her outdoor spaces, if you guys haven't caught that drift. That's awesome. It is exciting. I have so many of my clients saying, I'm just excited about springtime, the energy in the air. And it's great.
I know. I love spring. And it's sunny today. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, and
it's sunny here too.
It is? Well, I'm shocked. They filled the pool. I don't know when it's officially open, but it has water. They took the cover off. Like I came home one day last week and I was like, the cover's off. And then like I'm oh, there's water in it now. Like, yeah. So super exciting.
Very exciting. It's happening.
It's totally happening. I'm excited for that. All right. Do you want to share your story, or do you want to share something else you're excited about, since I shared like 3 things?
Yeah, well, I'm excited about this, so I'm going to just start with it. So
okay.
I got my dress. Very exciting. And I'm excited. So this is a good example of how being aware of the process and of the unfolding makes it more satisfying. Because you can go to a store and buy a dress, and great, and it's good. But being aware during the whole experience is so much more fun, because now I get to tell you guys about it. So I don't know when it was, but I've been looking for a while, and nothing's been the fit. And then I have had kind of, I don't know whether it was a couple weeks ago, a little whisper in the back of my head being like, hey, you should go to this mall. It's a little out of the way, but why don't you go check that place out? And I'm like, oh, okay. So then it was on Monday, which was the 22nd, which is the date that I got engaged, also the date that I'm getting married. Very exciting. And it's my favorite number.
Right.
And so it's significant, right, in alignment ways. And I'm like, oh, it's the 22nd. Imagine, wouldn't it be fun if I found my dress today? And so it was in the afternoon, and I had a client cancel the afternoon portion. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to go shopping. Oh, maybe I'll go out to this mall. And just to give you guys all the details, because you'll get it, I was driving and my GPS was taking me one way, and I got stopped at a red light, and I was like, oh, I think if I turn right here, I can go into the mall at this entrance. And I was like, so I went that way, and then I pulled into the mall, and there was a store I didn't even know the name of, but it's apparently a popular thing in U.S. malls. So I'm like, oh, that looks like a good place to park. I'm just going to go there. That looks easy. I wonder what this store is. And I walked in. It's like it's Dillard's, this big store. And I saw a bunch of white children dresses. And I was like, oh, this is like evidence. I saw that right away. So then I went and found the ladies section and, tried on dresses. And I definitely felt great in one of them and 2 of them. And so I narrowed it down to 2. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to find my dress here. This is awesome. And so there's that vibe going, right? I was very conscious and aware of that. And then I didn't want to decide between the 2 of them. And so I texted every friend I could. No one was available. And I was like, damn it, I have to decide. And so it's like, this is one of the cool parts of the story, is that the universe was like, forcing me to follow my gut, right? Forcing me to listen to what I knew inside. And then it was like, as soon as I bought it and walked out of the store, I had like messages pop up. Oh, hey, I'm here. Oh, yeah, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. Of course, Cassie didn't tell me which one she likes better.
Because I was on a call. I did not tell you that. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, but and I knew that was intentional, but I want to hear that. So that's my story and all the little alignment pieces. And I just thought it was so fun, and that I did get it on the 22nd, and just all the funness of that. And that's why it's like being aware of, hey, I had this inclination. Hey, I followed this. Hey, and that's what makes what we call a physical manifestation, like the ultimate outcome of, hey, I have my dress, more satisfying, more fulfilling, and more fun, because you and you're the only one. I'm the only one that was aware of all those little steps along the way, which is super fun.
And you noticed them. Yeah.
And I noticed them, yeah. And so, Cass, what was it from your side? Like, let's talk about that intentional communication.
Yeah. So I get this text, and I think I had been on my Monday call when the text came in. So then I saw it after, and it's like, which one do you like better? This one, picture, or this one, picture? And I'm like, oh, they're both beautiful. And I'm like, and so being, the intentional friend that I am, I'm like, they're both amazing or gorgeous or something. And which one do you feel better in?
That's exactly. Which one do you feel better in? And I'm like, damn it, Cassie. But it was by then because I was being tricky. I had already bought the dress, and I was like, which one? I had already made my decision.
Yeah, I know, which I love the text. You're like, number 2, and that's the one I bought. I'm like, that's awesome.
So it was fun.
That is fun.
So what else do you want to say about this kind of manifesting and the process and all of it?
I wanted to highlight a couple things, like, you learn to trust your gut. So when you're like, I'm just going to go right here, you went right there, and you saw a store you didn't even know, which I love. And then just go in. And I think understanding, like, you have this overall, like, this is happening for me. So for our listeners, like, there was no frustration in, like, no one's responding, right? You're like, oh, yeah, this is why no one's responding. I remember I'm supposed to make this decision for me, right?
Well, actually, let me just be a little authentic here. Yeah. I was like, I did feel there was a moment of like, frustration and like, why do I have to do this alone? No one's here. Like, so there was that moment, but then I'm like, oh yeah, this is all working out for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you felt it, right? Like, you weren't trying to like resist it and be happy. You were just like, I'm guessing, like, if I picture the moment, like, you did have that little, you felt it, and then you were like, oh yes, right? Because you didn't resist feeling that. You weren't like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. It's my wedding dress, blah, blah, blah. You didn't have a story about it.
Yeah, and I'm very used to, like, it is only becoming more and more apparent, guys. Like, the more you practice, the easier this gets. And it still gets easier and easier for me every time to catch it and let it go. Catch it and let it go. So though it's not even a thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Catch it and let it go. And then I think one of the other important things is that you were like, it would be fun to get it on the 22nd. But that you didn't put the pressure of like, oh, I have to get it on the 22nd or something's not aligned. Right? It's like, oh, it's this day. Wouldn't it be fun? Right?
Yeah.
Versus sort of putting pressure on, because I think a lot of times people, they take signs, but then they also try and manipulate them,
Yes.
And so I think that's important to remember as a listener, is like, you were in the fun, like, ooh, wouldn't this be fun? Everything is like, ooh, this would be fun. Oh, let me try this on. Oh, let me do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention too, I was telling Cassie this earlier, I wasn't in this like, oh my God, excited, I'm so happy, I love my life feeling that day. I was just going along. Like, I obviously love my life, that's underlying, but I wasn't in like a high excited vibe. I was just living. I was just going along. I was just happy, And so I just think that's important to acknowledge, because sometimes we get this impression that I have to feel so amazing to manifest things or to attract things or to hear the signs or hear the whispers, see the signs. And it's not. You just, just be open. As long as you're allowing, you're in an allowing place and you're open to receive, that's the best.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I love that because I was going to ask you to share it, because you don't have to be at the top. And if your intuition had said, like, don't go, you wouldn't have gone. But there was something that was like, hey, let me go look today.
Yes,
right?
There definitely was. Yeah.
Yeah. And so following that, and instead of, again, I'm going to use the word pressure again, instead of, I think a lot of people like, oh, I don't know if I can go today. Am I happy enough? Am I going to be able to find the dress easily if I'm not happy enough? Just follow your, just follow your intuition.
I do want to say too, because there's times when I've had oh, you should go, I'll just make it specific. Oh, you should go look at this store, or you should go out today, those little whispers, and they didn't turn into anything. Or you should go into this store, and it wasn't the outcome, it wasn't the getting the dress outcome. And so I really think that, and there have been times when I've been like, oh, turn down this street, and, nothing's happened, so I think it's important to give yourself the space to just honor those when you hear them without judging what you think is the outcome. It's the fact that you're hearing it and you're honoring it, that you actually learn to honor it, and that it can get louder in that space. Because even when I was like, oh, you should turn right here. I was like, okay, but I had no expectation from that. Yeah. It could be whatever. And that only comes from practicing that, following that, and without the expectation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I always, in my mind, there's always, the reason might not be the thing, right? But my intuition says, go into this store because, I don't know, maybe I'm just going to see something I'll remember later. Or go into that store because, I don't know, there's going to be or turn down this street because maybe I'm avoiding a traffic slowdown that I don't even ever see because I didn't go that way, because I did trust that. I always think, and it doesn't have to be something bad, right? It can just be that it's putting in other things in motion for your day is what I always think. When doesn't seem like there's a reason, I just always trust there's a reason I didn't see.
Yes. It's huge. Yeah. That's huge. There's a reason. Yeah. There's more to this than I know is a belief that's going to get you so far as a manifestor.
Yes.
I remember when I was looking for Lisa's ring, and I'm like, oh, that was a little whisper that was go into this store. And I went in and I didn't see anything I liked. And then the woman that I was speaking to didn't feel like a pleasant interaction to me. It felt very salesy and forceful. And I was walked out. I'm like, what the heck was that for? But then I was then I left it right there. Then I didn't carry it with me. I didn't analyze it. It was just okay, that was that, and moving on.
Yes.
And these stories just keep popping up into my mind. But Lisa and I were driving one time, and she turned right down. We were going somewhere. She turned right down a street, and she's like, oops, this isn't the street I meant to go down. And then another 2 seconds later, we passed a little outdoor wedding, and we both looked at each other. We're like, oh, it was the street you were meant to turn down. To just to see that.
Yeah.
Just to have that little evidence or just moment of excitement. That's what makes life so beautiful. It's not manifesting all the big things all the time at every corner.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Because so often it's just that. It's just so I saw that, or just so I'd remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Very cool.
Okay. Do you want to talk about, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we can go to, I think you had another story. I remembered a really great story.
Okay, well, I'll share my other story then. Yeah, it was super simple. You know how Cass and I talk about, leave things, leave that to the universe. Or if you have that to-do list running through your head, just say it will get taken care of. And so I obviously practice that on a daily basis. And it was a couple days ago, and it was in the back of my mind, oh, you have to call your website hosting company to figure out this backups thing, and you have to figure out this other thing, ask them about that. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that right now, but And it was a deliberate thought, hey, maybe it will get taken care of or something magical will happen. I have no idea because I know I have to go in and set it up, but whatever, I'll let it go. And then yesterday I got an email and it was from them and it said, your backup is complete. And I'm like, what? I literally did nothing. I'm like, this is like magic. And it was so fun to just have that experience. I actually still have to call them for the other thing, but like now I'm excited to call them because of that.
Yes.
So it was kind of cool. That it does happen all the time. And sometimes I feel like because Cass and I, we hear stuff from our clients all the time. It's easy to have that belief. It's easy to know it's always working in everybody's life. So I hope this helps you guys, adds a little inspiration or belief to your stuff too.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, what was your story?
So I don't know if I told you the whole story or not, but I don't think we showed it on the air. So a couple weeks ago, I was in Arizona with my clients and it was amazing. And I had the thought, like, I want to get a 4-door Jeep. Like I want to rent a 4-door Jeep.
Yeah.
Because that'll be fun. And like my future self has a 4-door Jeep.
I was going to say, let's tell them that. Like that's part of it. Yeah.
That is part of it. She for sure has a 4-door Jeep. The right one just hasn't come together. But she has a 4-door Jeep, which I love as much as my current Jeep. So it just has 4 doors. So, I had ridden, so this is interesting too. So a couple weeks before that, at the beginning of March, I was in Texas and a friend of mine and I went to visit a friend and she had just bought a 4-door Jeep. And so I got to like ride in it and fill it all out. Like I let my friend have the front seat. So I was in the back seat, like filling out how much room is in there and how it felt. And so that was really fun. And I think that played into it a lot. I was like, oh, I'm going to get one because I'm going to be my future self. Well, I wasn't inspired, this is interesting. So I just kept thinking about it, the car, and I usually Uber. I usually don't actually rent a car because I prefer to be driven. But there was a couple of things I wanted to run around and do some stuff and I didn't want to be waiting. And so I was like, all right, I am going to get a car. But like I didn't book it. And then we were on a call like the day before. And my client goes, oh yeah, I just booked my car through Costco. Like I love Costco, And right. And I go, oh, they do cars? And I was like, now I know I haven't booked it. That's where I should go to book my car, cool. Right? So I got on that night and I like put the stuff in and whatever the dates.
Costco
and
has everything.
I know, right? I was waiting for you to say that. They have like a whole travel, thing. And so I got on and there were no Jeeps. Like I was like, there's no Jeep. And I was like, all right, like it wasn't even an option. Like I looked through all of the choices and there was no option. I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. And I said, I don't need to drive a Jeep when I'm in Arizona because my future self owns one. So she has it at home. It doesn't matter if I drive it on the road, right?
Nice switch. Did you guys catch that? So like that's that mental talk. That's like, oh, that doesn't matter. It's fine. It's not like saying, oh, this wasn't meant to be,
Yeah. So I just picked the car. I'm like, cool. Flew into the airport and I was carrying, so there was a suitcase with $1.5 million of prop money in it.
Of money. Let's just leave the prop out.
Yeah, of money. That got held up. It didn't make it to the airport with my other bag, probably because they had to open it and check it and do all that stuff. So they said, well, we think it'll be on the next flight, but whatever. I'm like, no big deal. And I said, I have people coming in. I'll just have them pick it up. No big deal. And then I went to the rental car and I had so much fun with the ladies. Like it was such a gift to them. Like sometimes your stuff isn't about you, right?
Yeah.
That bag getting delayed they got to play. So there was no one. They were like, in fact, I walked in and I was like, okay, who's the most bored? Because there was 2 people sitting and there's like no one else in line. I'm like, who wants me to come to them, right?
Yeah.
And so, then we got to have a conversation about my work and we got to have a conversation about the suitcase and I got to give them books. And when I came back later to get the suitcase, like, because I'll tell you about that. But, I got to play with them and I got to show them the money and they got to dream. So sometimes you're just a part of opening up for someone else. Yeah. Right? It's, you're just part of the grander plan. Yeah.
Great example of that. How like if you think something's going wrong, it's not. And maybe you're just making it about you and it's not about you.
Yeah. So anyway, I get to the rental car place and there's a line and I'm like waiting in line, no big deal. And they call and they're like, oh, the bag's ready. And I almost got out of line. And I was like, you know what? No, I'll get the car. I'll leave it here. I'll take the shuttle back. I'll grab it, whatever.
There's the whisper.
Right? Yeah, there was the whisper. It's like, no, stay here. So I waited in line. I got this amazing woman and she was like, I said, it's cool if, I just come back in a half hour, right? She's like, it'll cost you $2. It's just quicker. Just drive around and park. Like, it's no big deal. It'll be easier just to go do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Right? So I got her. She was super helpful. And, so we did all this stuff and she added, there was a possibility that someone was going to get delayed, the person who had the car. And so I told her, I had one of my clients, I said, send me your driver's license because I'll put you on my car. Because that way when you get here with these other people or whatever, you can drive my car if we need to do that. And so she did. And I go, can I put her on? And she goes, well, we're really not supposed to do that. I'm like, okay. And at the end, she goes, give me your driver's license. I'll put her on. I was like, okay. And then I got up
Things
to the
always
floor.
work out for me.
Right? They always work out. And that's like one of the things. It's like so many people push back. It's even controlling the how to push back and be like, are you sure you won't do it? Or like, just trust. Like, I didn't even have to ask again. She just did it. Right?
Yeah.
And so I get to the floor. And I walk up to the guy and I hand him my paper. He's like, okay. He goes, as you can see, we've just had a run on cars. You probably waited in line or whatever. He goes, so we're waiting on cars to be delivered. So we're doing some free upgrades. And he goes, so what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for a sedan? And I was like, oh no.
I'm looking for a 4-door Jeep.
Right. I was like, he goes, what would you like? And I was like, can I have a Jeep? And he's like, oh yeah, you can have that one over there. I said, no, is there a 4-door one I can have? Because he pointed to a 2-door and he goes, he looks around the corner. He's like, yep, you can take that white one over there. I'm like, thank you very much.
That's so awesome. No, I definitely had not heard that full story.
And I was just like, oh, cool. Like, And it's all just those whispers. It's like sometimes you do have to stand in line. Like it wasn't like a long time, but it's stay there. I wouldn't have been at the back of the line if I hadn't had to, chat with the women about my bag and getting my bag, right? And I drove back around the airport. It took me like 15 minutes to go in and get the bag, and I got $100 Southwest credit because I picked up my own bag. So I got $100 on another trip, right? I get $100 for 15 minutes. No big deal. Yeah.
There's so much amazingness to that story. And so take that story and then amplify it to like life. Like that's living a life in alignment, right? And I just think like all those little magic pieces are falling into place to lead you to what you really want, to the most satisfying experience. And that the rental of that white Jeep is not the end of the story. We're going to hear it it's never the end. There's never the end of the story. And so, Cass is going to get her Jeep, and that's going to be fun to hear about how that happens. But I think I just want to highlight one of the most important parts of all of this, of everything we've shared, is we're always in this like allowing, receiving vibration or state of being that is like, things are working out for me. I'm not pushing against anything. I'm not trying to make anything happen. And I'm going with the flow. I'm in tune with this natural flow of life. I'm not pushing against in any way. And even if it seems like standing at the back of a long line is something bad, it's not. So if your immediate reaction to life is, I wonder how this is going to work out for me, wonder what magic is going to show up here, it's like a whole new world. And you have experiences like this all day long.
And I'll give you one of my clients is, I wonder what fun way this is going to work out.
Yeah. Fun is key. Because that's why we're here. Have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we did a whole episode on fun manifesting stories. And we even have more for you.
I know. We're gonna do this a little more often, just because it's fun to pick apart the parts of the story. And I agree with you, Jenny. Like when you take the story about the Jeep or about your wedding dress and you amplify that to life, like that's what we're doing. And so I think sometimes it's easier to learn on these little, what seem like little, they're big to us, like they're equal to us, right? We get just as excited about those two stories as we do like the big stuff, which is one of the reasons why the big stuff is easier. But, you know, when you can take apart what seems like this smaller story, sometimes it's easier to apply it to the big stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it makes me, and it makes when you catch like, oh, I have this new idea or I had this new thought, and you catch the beginning of the story, you get so excited because you know how this stuff plays out.
Right? You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Let me take note.
Exactly. This is going to be good. All right. Yeah. Well, hope everybody has an amazing week, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.